All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Urban Gardener. I want to thank you all so much for joining with me here today. If you haven't already, please get down below there and hit that subscribe button. Follow along with more garden adventures as we continue growing here on The Urban Gardener. In fact, hit that bell notification to be notified of upcoming episodes. Today, I'm going to kind of take you guys around on what we're going to call a pre-garden tour. We're crawling out of winter right now, and the rain is let up here in Southern Oregon, so I have just enough of a window here to get the video camera out and take you guys out on a look around our growing spaces. And after that, I'm going to go inside and talk about our title today. Now, before we get going back there into the garden space, I do have to warn you all. We're coming out of winter time. I didn't do much this last year, so we've got a lot to do in order to get our gardens back to where we want them to be. But before we know it, they'll be looking great. We'll be growing all of our own food again. Let's get started with our back patio garden space here. This is just a flat, all concrete back patio. As you can see here, we got our rain catchment system here. It's just a couple of garbage pails here connected together. So I said too, it's been raining, so let some of that loose. And right here we've got one of our 5-gallon water wicking buckets here. This is two 5-gallon buckets stacked inside of each other. The top one has a net pot down at the bottom of it, which feeds water up into the soil of the top one. I've got an iCard right above here to a video where you can put one of those together yourself. Now we use quite a bit of these in our gardens here, got all sorts of them. Right down this line here, I like to grow peppers and those ones there. And here, in these ones, we've got some garlic growing already. In fact, we're going to be putting together some more of these here. I've got a whole bunch of new buckets. Be making some for some friends and replacing a few of our older ones that we have around our gardens. And we also got these above ground raised beds. We grow a lot of different greens we'll have in here real soon. Eventually have like some cucumbers climbing up our wood trellises there. And over here I got a really deep above ground raised bed. With these deep beds I like to grow some root crops, get some carrots and stuff like that growing in here real soon. Got kind of another trellis here. Last year we grew some lemon cucumbers in this one. Maybe we'll do the same again. And we got some other buckets there. Not too sure yet what we're gonna grow up this trellis yet. Here we've got one of our additions this last year to the garden. It's one of our apple trees. We've got another one right here as well. I've got one more apple tree that we'll show you in just a little bit. And one of our older above ground raised beds here. As you can see, some of that wood rotting out and the bottom itself rotting out and falling apart. It's just basically particle board on the bottom there, and it's just falling apart right now. I've had this actually for about, I'd say, 7 to 8 years now, and it was made out of some really cheap wood, so it did last a pretty good amount of time. Same with the others, we've been just kind of replacing and fixing up. I'll probably fix up this board here, just kind of make them a little more solid, but they work really well in this sort of space. So yeah, this is our back patio space here. We got a lot of weeding and cleaning and trimming and all sorts of things to get done back here, but should be looking nice here real soon. Now over here in our back of our carport, got a couple more of these raised beds right up in the corner of the carport. And we've got some of this nylon trellising there. I'm thinking about replacing this with something else. Still looking into that, so stay tuned and we'll see what kind of changes we make there and what we decide to plant in these planters this year. And hey, what are you doing, Dexter? But we got our peach tree. Last year we got a peach off of our peach tree, so I'm hoping that this year we'll get a few more. Also back here in the back of the carport, I have this, I guess it's just basically like a big wooden box that I built up that holds up our 5-gallon wicking buckets here. You can kind of see, I'll be showing this a little bit more as the season gets going, but this is what holds most of our peppers in our pepper garden. I thought it was a pretty neat idea to keep them all together there and up off of the ground. So we'll be planting our peppers out in those pretty soon. And keep an eye out here in a few weeks, container potatoes. Coming out of our carport and into our alleyways here. Like I said, I'm living on a couple of alleyways. It's this one here that runs up the middle, and then we have another one that runs down the middle there. We'll show you in just a moment. Got a little space here. We grow some different varieties of things that can trellis up. Again, still planning on what we're going to get in there. We've got another space right here on the other side of our fence. As you can see, a lot of our spring flower bulbs are starting to pop up and out, so we should be getting some really good color coming from those bulbs. And right next to them, there's some garlic planted in there. Right down here, we got our other garlic bed, along with more spring bulbs interplanted in there. That'll be coming up. This garlic here is garlic I got from viewer Nancy. It's a hardneck variety, so I'm really excited about harvesting that later in the season. And I have lots of really nice flowers here real soon, as well as tomatoes and all of that great stuff that'll be growing in our spaces here. But back along this back fence line here, we got to get all of our soil weeded and prepped and everything. But back here is where we grow those peppers that I built that wood box for. And that's where our pepper growing space is mainly at, back there. Last year we grew some sweet potatoes and all sorts of different things right along this space here. All sorts of tomatoes. We grow about 10 different varieties. We utilize space with some of our 5-gallon wicking buckets right along this back part of one of my neighbor's fence here. In fact, we're getting together with him and hopefully get this fence all painted up and get it looking nice this year. So that'll be a project I'm looking forward to doing. And then, like I said, over here we've got the other alleyway that runs down the middle of the block that way, so it kind of makes a big T. So we utilize all that space we can. You know, I've kind of got some of our yard clippings that we compost down here, and we grow right along the side of the alleyway here as well. And one of the things we get into the ground for every winter time is our garlic. Got Lots of garlic in there. Just starting to come out. One of my kind of experiments this year is let garlic from last year just kind of stay in the ground. And I'm just going to let it grow out and see what we get when we just do that. Never really done that before. I'm sure you're not going to get really big bulbs or anything, but I'm just kind of interested in seeing. You know, it's kind of the fun of gardening, you know, is getting to try and do different things and try some things out. But yeah, we got more space there. We grow some corn and beans and squash and all sorts of different things right along this back alleyway space here. Just using up space, you know, that people don't normally think of. It kind of all started with this guy here. He's my neighbor, and he grew out in this back space here when I first moved here, and I never really thought about the idea of using these side or back alleyway spaces. And when I saw that he was growing corn, this Mexican white corn that was taller than his roof there, right out in the alleyway, I was like, I gotta get in on some of that action. So started growing, and he's already out here getting everything prepped up for this year. He's telling me he wants to grow a lot more squash. He grew a really good squash last year that he's looking forward to growing again this year. And then we built a couple of these beds here. We'll be getting planted out here real soon with some of our cold crops. As you can see here, we've got these onions that I didn't plant in time. Last year I got them in really late, so they didn't get to grow or do very well as the real heat of the summer hit, and those seedlings just had a real hard time growing. So they're kind of getting green and all of that, but I'm sure that once spring hits and I let these go, they're just going to push up to seed, and we're just going to clear that out and get some all new onion seeds growing in there. I've already got some seedlings growing already to get in there nice and early this year. And we got a space here, just kind of flowers and those sort of things. As you can see, we've got more of them coming up. And I got this little bench here. There's some thyme and rosemary. That's rosemary and some catnip. The cats really love the catnip. And here's that other apple tree I was telling you about. It's already starting to get their buds and all of that forming. I think this one really likes this spot, so we'll see how well that goes. It's got a nice big container, so we'll see if we get some apples this year. We got blueberries. The blueberries every single year worry me because they just look to death every time the winter time hits. Except for this one, it always keeps its leaves. This one always keeps its leaves, but all these other ones around just look like they're about dead, and every single year they surprise me. They pop up and just really grow really well. Last year we got a lot of good blueberries. And life. The hope of spring and the new year. Yeah, that's our garden space that we have. We just grow right here on the alleyways. Some real unconventional spaces. I do have this one last spot here actually too. This corner here as well. We grow a lot of different strawberries. In fact, see some of the strawberry plants hiding under here, under the leaves, getting ready to pop out and grow this year. Yeah, so we got some nice strawberries we'll be looking forward to there. But again, got some really different spaces that we're growing in. Hopefully a nice herb garden here that I'm working on. Should have that ready here within the next few weeks. All right, now, about the title. A few years ago, when I was deciding to start up this channel, I had to figure out a name. And because of the spaces that you saw that we grow in, the alleyway, the back patio that's cement with the above ground raised beds, the trellising. In fact, a couple of years ago, you can look back in our old videos and see that I was growing with those 5-gallon water wicking buckets up on the carport rooftop. We had a cool pepper garden up there. And at the time, I thought because I'm outside of my city and I've got these cool, unique spaces, the Urban Gardener sounded like the perfect fit for the name for this channel. And I'll tell you a quick story too. I was at the National Heirloom Exposition at the end of the first year that I was making videos for this channel. And while I was filming a segment for the video I was making of the experience there at the National Heirloom Exposition, I had this guy walk up to me. Big guy with a big long beard dressed like an Amish person. It was Doug from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. And he was asking me about the channel and asked me what the name was. I told him it was the Urban Gardener. And right off the bat, he was like, I know your channel. I've seen and heard of you before. And at the time, we'd only had about 300 subscribers on the channel. So I knew right off the bat he couldn't be talking about me, you know. So I had mentioned to him, like, are you sure that you're talking about my channel, the Urban Gardener? He's like, yeah, you grow out of front yards out of Canada. And I was like, no, that's not me. That's the urban farmer, Curtis Stone. In fact, wait, hold on. The urban farmer, Curtis Stone. That's who Doug was talking about. In fact, I got this book a couple of years before I started this channel. I got it because I was really interested in the videos that Curtis was putting on YouTube where he was farming out of his neighbors' yards, people who had volunteered to give them their land in order to farm and grow vegetables, and he sold them to restaurants. And I thought that that was a great idea to grow food out of other people's yards. I had a few people who would let me use their space, so I thought that was something that I might wanted to do until I got inspired to make this channel. And it wasn't just Doug who mistaked my channel for Curtis Stone's The Urban Farmer channel. I had it happen a couple of other times too when I was doing some videos and I was at a couple of different locations and had some people approach me and ask me about the channel. And I'd mention it's the Urban Gardener and they'd tell me that they had heard of my channel. But I had to ask them, you talking about my channel, the Urban Gardener, or are you talking about Curtis Stone's channel, the Urban Farmer, where he's growing out of other people's front yards? I'd mention that, and then that's when they would know that they were talking about the other channel. But ultimately, on that level, I don't necessarily have a problem with our channels being confused when it's talking about gardening and we're talking about growing food, because that's what this channel's all about. The Urban Gardener is growing food, mostly for us here in small spaces, small urban spaces. We're growing food for ourselves. If not, we're going out and visiting people who are growing food or gardening in some sort of way, but it's all about growing things and growing for ourselves here on this channel. And recently, I had some confusion between my channel and Curtis Stone's channel that I didn't necessarily agree or like. Now online, there were a couple of messages that I had seen where someone had had the name The Urban Gardener and mixing it up while they were talking about their opinion of certain things that Curtis Stone was talking about on his channel, The Urban Farmer. Now, I guess Curtis has gone in some other directions lately when it comes to opinions about other things besides gardening. And I had to make it clear to people that that's not what I'm about, that's not what this channel's about, and that is the clear difference between my channel, The Urban Gardener, and his channel, The Urban Farmer. Is that we're all about growing food here. It's all about gardening. It's all about having fun and enjoying this great adventure in the garden. And I'm really glad that all of you have come along with me and joined me in that venture. It's been really great making these videos. I really enjoy doing it. So I hope that you all hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button there for this video. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything at all, get down in that comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And like I said at the beginning, if you haven't subscribed yet, Get down below and hit that subscribe button. Follow along with more garden adventures as we continue growing here on the Urban Gardener. In fact, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified of upcoming episodes. And I'll see you all on the very next one. Hello, Dexter. How you doing, buddy? What are you doing, Dexter? Yeah? What's going on, George? How you doing, buddy? The name, the Urban Gardener. It's kind of the backyard. Doug from Off Grid and Doug and